or make it Grundy, as the captain, Marty Simmons, draws the foul. Let's see it again.
Marty gets set up, takes the charge. Good positioning by Simmons. And the Aces have a chance to come within 8 points, and that would really be a big lift. And this crowd is on their feet, and they're rocking.
One second on the clock. Simmons, who leads the ball club in field goal shooting, puts in his 4th free throw of the night. Simmons shooting 75%. And it's a 42-34 ball game. That's the half. Score here at halftime. DePaul 42, Evansvill 34. Dean is going to try now to get a word with assistant coach Jim Molinari. Let's go to Dean Webster now.
Jim, your analysis of the first half there.
Well, I think we shot the ball well. I think that's the difference. Kevin Edwards shot the ball well. Evansville, we knew they'd be very well coached. I think they've done a good job. I think we got to get to the free throw line. We haven't shot 1 free throw, and I think that hurts us a little bit.
Adjustments you'll make at the half?
Get the ball to Dallas. I think that's a big one, and he's got to get inside, and we got to get him to score a little bit inside.
How will you try to stop the Aces after? I noticed you're trying to take that defense out a little farther on the floor.
The main way we'll stop him is try to get Dallas back in the game. But, you know, Marty Simmons is a good player. He'll use screens. You just got to get to him and get a good, strong hand on the shot.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. DePaul leads it 42-38 at the half. We're coming back right after this.
Quietly, with very little noise, one soft drink has risen all the way to the top to become America's #1 caffeine-free cola. Caffeine-free Diet Coke. It's the soft drink more and more people are quietly enjoying. Caffeine-free Diet Coke. Try it.
Ah. Just for the taste of it. Shh. Caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Did you hear the news? LensCrafters, America's quality one-hour optical store, has come to Evansville in Washington Square Mall. Listen.
I got no-line bifocals in less than an hour.
I got 2 pair in an hour.
They fit better than any pair of glasses I've ever had. I've been wearing glasses for 15 years.
You really can have quality eyeglasses in about an hour.
At LensCrafters, America's quality one-hour optical store. Now at Washington Square Mall next to Sears.
King's incredible year-end closeout sale has been held over. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of appliance and video inventory must be sold to make room for construction workers starting on King's new Superstore warehouse. How about ranges from $238? Wow, only $238. Washers and dryers from only $488.99. Wow, $488.99. And camcorders now only $1049. Wow, $1049. We repeat, King's Superstore year-end closeout sale has been held over. King's Superstore, 4225 East Morgan, across from Bassmeyer's.
At Old National Bank, the cost of money just went down. Introducing Home Equity, the line of credit that's yours at an incredibly low 6%. The only loan that gives you all these advantages. Home Equity, the biggest thing to hit banking in a long, long time. From who else but Old National Bank?
Just when it looked like the Aces could go to a movie for the rest of the night, they get back in this ball game, 42-34. Hi, everybody. Mike Blake back here with one of the top sportscasters in the country from WGN, Joe McConnell. Joe, you've been doing this ball game. Your impressions, you see this team all the time. What do you think of this first half?
Well, I was impressed with Evansville's shooting ability, particularly Hafner. A three-point shot for him is a normal shot. Simmons a very smart player. You can tell he's had a couple of years with Bobby Knight at Bloomington, but I thought there were a couple of strange calls in the last 5 seconds of the first half, and enabled Evansville to get back in the ballgame a little bit. But DePaul played with a lot more intensity tonight, and I'm quite pleased with the Blue Demons' effort going into Georgetown next Sunday.
Let me ask you this. Is this team noticeably different from the teams you've covered before?
Well, I think so. In overall balance, Edwards gives this club some shooting ability, ball handling ability, defensive ability. Of course, Strickland's a great guard in all phases, and Comegys has been a real leader this year. And Joey started the year. I think he finally got out from under the shadow of his father. They didn't really expect a whole lot in DePaul this year, and so Joey's success has been a pleasant surprise, and the team's been a fun team to work.
Joe, of course, was the voice of the Chicago Bears for many, many years. Mike Ditka making a lot of headlines. Jim McMahon, what about this?
Well, it's unfortunate. I think Mike McCaskey may have made a couple of mistakes, but I think a lot of this goes back to the bad blood in the McCaskey-Hallis family. Long before Hallis passed away, and George, before he passed away, named Venisi and Ditka kind of run the club, and I think the McCaskey element, which was never really accepted by the old man, I think there may be something to do with this and getting rid of some of George's people now.
Let me ask you this, Joe. What about the getting Doug Flutie, the McMahon? Is McMahon going to quarterback again for the Bears, do you think?
If he's healthy, he's the quarterback. You can't replace a Jim McMahon. Leadership-wise, he does a lot for that club. He might have a bad day statistically, but they seem to play much better when he's in there.
You've been here at the stadium on many occasions. You remarked you thought the crowd was closer to the floor. You were here years ago.
Oh, I was here years ago when they used to line the sidelines and pack this thing with 11,500, 12,000 fans. I remember Arad in the golden days of Evansville basketball Division II here, and I was lucky enough to work Indiana State one year when Indiana State went to the final game down here at Roberts and lost to Wesleyan. And of course, I long remember the Southern Illinois, Indiana State, Kentucky Wesleyan, Evansville rivalries.
One final thing, Joe, in the locker room right now, what is Meyer telling his troops, do you think?
Oh, I think he's pretty happy with the way they played in the first half. They got great play out of the guards, and I think he's just going to say, hey, let's don't let down. Let's don't let this club get back in the ballgame. Let's play with intensity on defense. Let's keep doing what we're doing on offense. Maybe we'll get a couple of foul calls early in the second half to go our way, and I think we're all right. I don't think Joey's got anything to be upset about.
Talent-wise, potentially, is this a Final Four team, do you think, DePaul?
No, I don't think so. I think they're a good ball club. I think we'll find out more about the Demons in the second half because most of the name schedule is coming up. They've got Georgetown Sunday, they've got North Carolina State, and another one with Notre Dame, a couple with Marquette left. So the tougher games are left on the schedule, and if DePaul can play well in those 5 or 6 ball games, they'll finish with a great regular season record.
Joe, go back to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Joe McConnell of WGN. Dino, your thoughts again about the first half?
Well, I think the Aces are going to have to work the ball inside again to Marty Simmons. Scott Hafner has got to keep those 3-point shots up and keep in them. As we said, our production crew this afternoon said he was putting on a clinic out here from NBA Rage. Hit 11 in a row. We could use 11 in a row in the second half out of Scott Hafner and make it an interesting ball game.
Earlier this week, you spent some time with one of the key men in the Aces organization. Who is he and what are we going to see?
Well, I tell you, the people on the UE staff work hard. All the assistant coaches, and in fact, he gets mistaken from time to time to be an assistant coach, but he's a trainer, Steve Dayton. Now, you think a trainer, all he does is tape up an ankle, but in Steve's case, he does a lot more. Steve Dayton is in his first season as team trainer for the Aces basketball squad. Steve is serving as trainer while continuing his education as he is working towards his master's degree and his certificate to be a certified trainer. But Steve's duties go far beyond what you might think a trainer would do, as he takes care of off-court administrative duties, including being in charge of road trips.
Well, I get involved in, I guess you could call it, the business aspect. You know, maybe some administrative duties. I take care of the financial situations or obligations that we have on the road.
So pretty much the coaches can kind of concentrate on coaching, and you're in charge of getting them all the motels, all that kind of stuff?
Right. Our business office takes care of all the final arrangements, and my responsibility on the road is that the players are taken care of so the coaches can concentrate on the game that night.
Steve has been involved with basketball teams as a trainer since he was a sophomore at Washington High School. He later spent 5 years with the Indiana University basketball team, working with one of the most well-known and respected trainers anywhere, Tim Garl. But the opportunities were even greater at IU than Steve ever imagined.
That was definitely an experience, to say the least. I got introduced to a lot of people that were involved in the field, professionals, a lot of doctors. They have numerous physicians in every area, that you can have. And they allowed me to come in and sit in on the examinations and, during their professional hours at the office.
Steve said it was just good timing, as Coach Cruz was looking for someone to take over and be the trainer solely for the basketball team. And on a recommendation from IU head coach Bob Knight, Coach Cruz brought Steve aboard.
I was surprised I got the opportunity to come to Evansville. I knew Coach Cruz from Indiana, being involved with that program, and I was going to go to the University of Texas, but I wanted to stay close to home, and I had a lot of respect for Coach Cruz and his program that he's building here at Evansville. Coach Cruz and I talked on numerous occasions, and we just thought that I would have a good opportunity here in Evansville.
I have our thanks to Steve Dayton, a very fine young man, and really he was tutored by the mentor, the man that's in the book, Season on the Brink, Tim Garl, right?
Yeah, and Steve Dayton is in the book on page 23 and 24. Steve keeps reminding me, and he's also back in the acknowledgments. Good kid, learned his trade with Tim Garl. Of course, he was the Olympic trainer, Tim Garl was, along with, of course, his mentor, Bobby Knight, in 1984.
So the Aces medically are in good hands, training-wise.
Yes, in fact, he just took his third part of his boards. He has completed 2/3 of it. He just took his third one on Sunday, and I said, well, how'd you do? Did you pass? He said, I know, in 6 weeks.
Well, we know right now some of the stats in this first half. Again, early on, boy, DePaul came out of the block, 6-0. UE finally took a lead at 9-8. Then they kind of went to sleep, didn't they?
Well, they got the Aces got the points out of their big guns, Hafner and Simmons, and officially now it was Simmons with 15 and Hafner with 9. They really kind of kept them in. Of course, Hafner bombing from out hit a couple of key three-pointers.
On the other side, Comegys early on. But again, I was impressed by Green. And you can't help but be impressed with Edwards and Strickland. They lived up to their billing.
Edwards was certainly impressive with 16 points. Strickland and Green both had 8, along with Comegys. Comegys is their man. He's the guy they want to get the ball inside. Grundy also had a point. Comegys in a little bit of foul trouble with 2. But that's what the Blue Demons want to do. They want to get the ball inside to Comegys. They want Comegys to score 20 to 25 points tonight.
And talking about one of the things we talked about prior to the game was why is DePaul why is it emerged as a national power? Any thoughts on that? About here they are in Chicago. They're not, you know, we've been to the campus. It's not that attractive. But why would a kid from Los Angeles come to DePaul or from Philadelphia?
Well, some of the kids have even come out and said they get the exposure on television. It's a big market. It's a nice town to play in. And you get some press coverage there, and you get to play on national television, and you get to play for an excellent program. DePaul made the commitment several years ago towards the end of Ray Meyer's tenure. Let's be Division I. If we're going to be Division I, let's do it right. They made the commitment, came up with the money, and as you can see, they've done it right over about the last dozen years.
There was one write-up where they said they hope to recruit, they look and try to recruit 30 players. They bring 8 or 10 on campus, and they say if we get 1 or 2 of those, we feel fortunate. That's a lot of recruiting.
It certainly is, and they don't limit it to just the Midwest. They go all over the country.
The teams are coming back on the court, and we're coming back for the start of the second half right after this.
GD Ritzy's has what the others have not. It's got a popping sizzle and a little bebop.
Ah, my little GD Ritzy's incredible edibles. Once I had a dream about chili, made in 7 wonderful ways. Over spaghetti by adding onions, beans, green peppers, chopped tomatoes, and even cheese. Then I woke up. I was in heaven. A GD Ritzy's. Ah, GD Ritzy's, east, west, and north.
You're not ready for the office without shoes. You're not ready to go jogging without shoes. You're not ready for the weekend without shoes. Shoes from Eastland Mall will get you ready for any occasion. With more than a dozen shoe stores and 4 department stores, you can be sure you'll get the shoes you want at the price you need. Eastland Mall, 800 North Green River Road, Evansville.
Turn to Newswatch at 5, weekdays only on 14.
And don't forget, coming up on Newswatch at 10 tonight, David James, Marciaki, and Dan Katz. Dan will fill you in on all the scores from across the country tonight. This Saturday, basketball at its best here on NBC and Channel 14, an NCAA doubleheader in the afternoon. Arizona at Illinois, the Illini Then Notre Dame goes to Pauley to the Pavilion to take on UCLA. Notre Dame and UCLA at 2. We'll have the Aces and Ramblers presumably on tape delay Saturday night. Loyola's coming. And that is always a great matchup, and that will be Saturday night. Sunday, North Carolina at Kansas, followed by, that's at noon, and at 2 o'clock, Sports World. And a programming reminder, Highway to Heaven, which was to be shown tonight, will be shown in its entirety Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Highway to Heaven, one of the top-rated shows, Sunday now at 4 o'clock. Dean, a couple of scores, a final and a halftime, some teams that we're concerned about.
Detroit of the MCC loses their 12th ball game, losing at Dayton by the score of 74-69. And Loyola at halftime playing Marquette, leading the Warriors. The Ramblers 43, Marquette 37. The Blue Demons are the highest ranked team in action tonight. The 6th ranked Blue Demons, of course, here in to take on the Aces. Syracuse also in action, 7th ranked, but the big game tonight, 12th ranked Duke at number 20, North Carolina State. And you can bet down in Raleigh tonight, the place is really going crazy.
You can be sure it is. We're coming back with the start of the second half right after this.
Tonight's exciting basketball action between the University of Evansville Aces and the Blue Demons of DePaul is brought to you in part by the good people of Kenny Kent, Old National Bank, your bank for life, your local Coca-Cola bottlers, and by King's Appliance, where nobody beats King's deal. Now at courtside, here's Mike Blake and Dean Webster.
Mike Blake along with Dean Webster live from Roberts Stadium, and they're on their feet as we begin the second half. UE and 6th-ranked DePaul. The last time we had 11,000 plus, that was on December 19th of 1983 when UE played Purdue and beat the Boilers. Some stats.
Take a look at the free throws, a big key right there. The Aces hit all 9, and they hit a couple of those late in the first half, but only shooting 40% from the field, while the Blue Demons are shooting 60% and out-rebounding the Aces 17-12, and turnovers kind of evened up there at 7-4. The Aces committing 7. Another stat there, you see free throws 0% by DePaul, and that's something that at halftime I'm sure they talked about, trying to get to the free throw line in Dallas Comagese.
If UE could hold its, obviously if they held it to single digits, it'd be great in terms of turnovers, but realistically if they held them to just another 7, if UE could only commit 14, that would be an improvement. That would be almost less than half than what they had a year ago up at Chicago. UE's basketball 42-34. Nice to have you here live at the stadium. Aces and DePaul. Marty Simmons, good move, but loses it on the way up. Strickland. Meyer wanted a foul on Marty. The old nemesis Green in and out, and Simmons wins the race to the basketball.
The Aces have to get out of the chute very early if they want to get back into this game. 8 points. They got some momentum at the end of that first half. Now let's see if they can keep it going.
UE historically has not had great second half, and a foul on Kevin Edwards.
Edwards trying to play the defense on Marty Simmons, picks up his 2nd foul. This is Edwards' 81st straight game as a starter, 65 of those coming at a community college, and trying to play the tough defense on Marty Simmons inside, commits the foul.
His first foul, the first foul of the second half as well. Again, you're looking at the lineup that started the ball game. Hafner puts it up. It's going to be short. Edwards, he pulls it back out. And a foul on Marty Simmons.
Marty finally gets called for a foul. He hacked a couple of times inside in the first half, got away with the call, and Joey Meyer says, finally you called one. And that is Marty's 2nd foul.
Green's underneath to Edwards, who's all alone. And Kevin Edwards continues to be a thorn here in the start of the second half. 44-34 DePaul. Active hand! Jackson on the turnaround. And a jump. Dan Gottfried and Kevin Golden. It'll be DePaul's ball.
Everything is short for the Aces right now. I don't know if they're just a little tight. Curtis's shot was short. Scott Hafner's shot was a little short. You got to remember, these guys are playing the 6th-ranked team in the nation, and they probably are going to be a little tight.
Also, I would think emotionally they may be a little drained. They seem to be, they all seem to be a little winded at the start of the ball game. And when you're winded, you tend to be a little short with your shots.
Good reason to be winded. They played a good six-minute stretch without a whistle being blown.
Working the baseline. Simmons, up he goes. Again, can't get it. Gottfried with a miss. Golden up to Edwards. He'll take it down, but loses the dribble. Again, you've got to move with DePaul. They don't wait for anybody. Here's Green for 3. Jackson with a rebound. So UE has had several trips up the court.
DePaul has missed a few shots here, and now Jim Cruz is calling for a realignment. He's calling for 3 out, which means they'll try to work the ball inside and then flip it back outside on a ball reversal.
Ray Meyer on our 6 o'clock news watch talked about the new 3-guard offensive trend in basketball as Marty Simmons works for a hard 2, and he gets it. He said it's the coming thing, and of course we see DePaul with these 3 speed merchants out front.
Well, the Aces play that in a sense because Simmons can play either guard or forward, and he matches up well with the small forward out front, as does Curtis Jackson.
Golden on the turnaround. Jackson with a rebound. 6'2", Curtis Jackson brings it back down to the wood. And we're down to 17 minutes remaining.
Big trip up the floor for the Aces.
Dan Gottfried had a hook. He had 3 buckets in the first half. Ball. Simmons is left alone, and he travels. Hardy with a turnover.
You see the respect that Comagese has for Simmons. He kind of whacked him as he went by after the whistle be called, and he turned around and patted him and said, "You okay, Marty?" Against Dan Gottfried and Brian Hill, Comagese was really laying his body on those guys and trying to intimidate them. He knows he's not going to intimidate a guy like Simmons.
You're going to see some hellacious picks set underneath. This is Strickland. Comagese. In he goes.
Comagese just picked up his 3rd foul. He hooked him and then ran over Bamba. Oh my, they're going to call the foul on Dan Gottfried. This is an extremely bad call. You see Comagese with the arm out there. He hooks Gottfried and then runs over Bamba. He committed 2 fouls.
Gottfried commits the personal. What I thought is that the ref out here, out towards midcourt, called it on somebody else. A 3-point play by Comagese, who gets his first free throw. That's the first one for DePaul. Bamba. They've got to be careful. Gets it up to Jackson as it's slapped away. DePaul back up by 11.
Now they're gonna back off and play the zone.
I believe their biggest lead was 14 at 38-24. UE came back. And a nice tip by Dan Gottfried.
Gottfried getting the good position because of the help defense. Comagese went over, tried to play the defense on Simmons. That left Gottfried free with good rebounding position. Just tipped that ball right in.
Down to almost 16 minutes. Comagese, rebound, goes to the Aces. DePaul has been beating its opponents by an average of 17 points. They've been holding their opponents under 16. Here come the Aces with a chance to get back in single digits.
That's the 3rd time that Bamba's done that. He's only got 1 foul called on Strickland.
Jackson working low. Gottfried will put it up.
Dan with back-to-back buckets has brought the Aces within 7 points.
And the freshman redshirt out of Stillman Valley getting some valuable experience. And it's a 7-point spread, 47-40.
Watch him banging inside with Comagese.
And Kevin Edwards takes control with his second half bucket.
Edwards has 20 points already.
20 for Edwards, 49 for DePaul. Gottfried again. Golden with a rebound. Green takes it down, and traveling call. Timeout here at Roberts Stadium. The score, 49-40. We're coming back right after this.
The buck stops with Margot Edwards.
Here in Eastland Mall, fast service counts. That's what you'll get with Old National. Because I can make my own decisions, you don't get stuck waiting around.
The buck stops with Bill Forkey.
My customers like working with someone they know. With Old National, they do. Banking here is one-on-one. It's just you and it's just me. Now, isn't that the way it ought to be?
Old National, Old National.
Never before has Kenny Kent's inventory been so large. Due to the March 1st tax deadline, Kenny Kent must reduce their entire inventory. You'll never buy a new Chevrolet, Mazda, or Volvo for less. Here's the proof. $99 down and you can drive away in a new or used car, truck, or custom van. $99 down on any of over 500 Chevrolets, 150 Mazdas, or 200 used vehicles in stock, and it's yours. $99 down and no reasonable offer will be refused. Kenny Kent is dealing like never before. Downtown and at Diamond and Heidelberg.
14 minutes, 51 seconds remaining at Roberts Stadium. And a man named Dan, this is Dan Gottfried with the tip.
You see Simmons goes in, puts it up on the board, and because Comegys went down to play defense, Gottfried was left all alone as he just tips it in. Dan hit another bucket right after that. Gottfried playing a good ball game tonight. He's getting his 5th start in a row, and he's really playing well.
He has 10 points. 4 of them coming here in the second half. You know, one thing people forget, he grew 7 inches in 4 years. Wow. He just shot up like a beanstalk. And he was also a fine athlete in track and cross country. But right now, I think one of the biggest things for their concern is his endurance.
Well, he's playing pretty well tonight, and he's got Dallas Comegys only at 11 points so far. And what I call 3 of those was pretty cheap the last time up the floor.
A big bucket by Scott Hafner. His 4th. They're all for 3 points, and the Aces are back within 6. 14 and a half remaining. The Noblesville sharpshooter. This is Andy Laux. He can put it up from 3-point range. Strickland looses it on the way up, and a foul.
Good hands that time by Scott Hafner. Moving much better on that ankle tonight. You see what a couple of days off. He had the day off yesterday, and a couple of days of rest will do for it. Let's see. You see how Scott goes sideways, but he puts his left arm on him and then reaches in, gets the ball. They didn't call the foul out on the floor. That was probably a pretty good block.
Strickland hitting only, ironically, only 50% from the free throw line. Makes his first one tonight. DePaul has not been at the line very often. But Evansville cannot get the rebound. 50-43.
That happens quite a bit on the Aces.
Andy Laux misses. Jackson with a rebound. Curtis with his 3rd board of the second half. And we're down to 14 minutes.
The fans on their feet trying to get into the game now.
Good student contingent tonight. A good crowd, period. We'll try to get a figure for you. We think it's over 11. It's a great atmosphere as Hafner. And Scott is heating up. 5 3-pointers for Scott Hafner, and now this crowd is really starting to cook.
Joey Meyer stands up and says, "That's all right. Come on, guys. Run play number 2. Let's see what play number 2 is."
Comegys, the big guy, and a foul, a charge, and look at Gottfried. He's really fired up about the call as it goes back to UE. Comegys with the charge.
The Aces fans are on their feet. And the Aces are playing some inspired basketball right now. Within 4 at 50-46. Take another look at it. Good position. As you see, he backs right into Gottfried. Gottfried held his position, and the foul was called.
And Roberts Stadium likes what they see. We're coming back in just a moment.
Just for the light of it,
the smooth taste of it.
Diet Coke. Just for the just for the taste of it.
From Coca-Cola.
Diet Coke.
McDonald's tells me that under that big black bar is a special limited time price on a Big Mac. Gee, I wish I knew what it was. They just told me that if I showed it to the public, it could cause the largest outbreak of Big Mac attacks ever. Yep, it's right under there. Some incredible unknown price. Maybe just a peek. 99 cents for this hot, mouth-watering Big Mac? 99 cents for all this? Stay calm. Women and children in the car first!
Well, since the last time we saw you, don't adjust your set. This is what it looks like. They're rocking here. Surprisingly, Dean, a figure, the attendance is 9,640. Something's wrong.
Well, that's a turnstile figure that if you get a real true count of how many paid customers, there's a lot more than 9,600 in here tonight. I guarantee you it's probably pushing 11,000. You look up in the very top rows, and there may be a few seats, but there's no 1,500 no-shows tonight.
UE announced that it had 10,000 sold late this afternoon. Here comes Hafner, 13.5 to go. Aces back within 4.
That's the 4th time that Bomba's been knocked down out front, and the officials have only called it 1 time.
He's being guarded by Bundy. Tonight, contrary to what the Aces haven't had, they're 2 money men, Hafner and Simmons, the 2 guys you gotta have when you need it. They're on the court. Somewhat less than 100%, but they're there. Simmons up with a shot. Godfrey battled around, and a foul on Dan Godfrey.
Well, that's where the All-American status comes in. The official could have called it either way, and he gives the All-American the break, and instead of calling it on Comegys, because you see Godfrey puts it up there, and Comegys slaps Simmons right there, and then I don't know where the foul was. They called it on Godfrey.
Right. Second foul on the big guy, under 13 minutes. Aces were down by 14 in the first half, down 8 at the half. A three-pointer is short, rebound, Godfrey. Stolen by Grundy, and that hurt.
Dan's got to pick that ball up and really protect it and get those elbows out.
Jim Cruz wanted a foul, down to 12.5. Strickland into the paint, back out to Edwards.
Good rotation that time by the Aces on defense, but just couldn't get back.
So UE comes up the court again, down by 6. Again, DePaul, a very fine defensive ball club. Very active with the feet and the hands. Simmons takes it down into the paint, up, will not go.
You see DePaul has put in a little more strength underneath, and Stanley Bundy is in there. They're having problems with Godfrey inside.
Godfrey is a factor at Xavier till he fouled out. A foul, the basket is good. Strickland.
A reach-in foul that time by Curtis Jackson, I believe, and the basket's going to count.
There you see Jim Molinari and Joey Meyer up off the bench. Jim Cruz wants to talk things over. 11:46, so a turnaround. It's now an 8-point DePaul spread.
At Old National Bank, the cost of money just went down. Introducing Home Equity, the line of credit that's yours at an incredibly low 6%. The only loan that gives you all these advantages. Home Equity, the biggest thing to hit banking in a long, long time. From who else but Old National Bank?
Treat yourself to an unforgettable eating experience at the French Quarter in Eastland Mall. You and your friends will enjoy a delicious meal in a uniquely beautiful atmosphere. Try our delicious steaks, thick, juicy, tender, and cooked to perfection, served with your choice of potato and salad. Or fresh seafood. Choose from shrimp, crab, and snapper, served piping hot and always delicious. For a taste of the South, try our authentic Cajun meals. All available at the French Quarter, uniquely different and deliciously yours, located at Eastland Mall.
The DePaul Blue Demons in the huddle. They had a 14-point lead at one time. It's been reduced to as low as 4. It's back up to 8. As the crowd now has 11:46 remaining. Pretty good ball game, Dean Webster.
Certainly is. Nobody's going to turn this one off. The Aces playing the 6th-ranked team in the nation. very tough tonight, and they were within 4 at 50-46. And Dan Godfrey had gotten the rebound. They had a chance to cut it to 2 or maybe 1 on a three-pointer. Lost the ball. They came back, scored. Strickland now had hit on a baseline jumper. He can extend that lead back up to 9 points. So how quickly things can turn around. Strickland, as you said, not a great free throw shooter, only 49% on the year.
Misses again, so maybe that'll be a factor down the stretch if they can get back in this ball game. DePaul trying to tune up for Georgetown. Does not want to stub its toe here tonight. Hafner could not hold it. An errant pass.
Well, Godfrey just normally leading Scott Hafner, but Hafner on that ankle just couldn't quite stretch out and grab that one like he normally would. He's such a great athlete. He would have had that in his hip pocket, Mike, to be to 100%.
So DePaul sets up shop again. Incidentally, Georgetown's playing Connecticut tonight. Comegys, and he is fouled by Dan Godfrey. That's 3 on Godfrey.
Dan's got to hold his position in that situation, and he turned around, and if he'd have just held his position instead of jumping, then he might have been able to pick up the charge or a no call. Good position down there, but when he leaps, he makes contact. You see him turn his body in. If he just stays square and doesn't jump, then he's got good position, and he's still bothering the shot.
Godfrey, or rather, Comegys does not get the roll. Comegys is in the leading categories in 5 or 6 different departments for DePaul. He's a very good free throw shooter, 76%.
This is what DePaul wanted to do, get inside and get Comegys to the free throw line, although he misses a couple there.
So again, they miss at the free throw line. We stay 54-46, 11-10 remaining. Ace is a huge underdog here tonight, trying to get back in this contest. Simmons in good position, blocked, gets it back. Takes, and a foul on Marty Simmons.
Boy, Jim Cruz is upset with that one, and I can see why. Cruz not pleased with that. Comegys got the call on the other end a while ago when they called the foul on Big Dan. And Coach Cruz not very happy. You see the good block there. Simmons gets it, and then Comegys just leans into him. You have to give the man a step in that situation. You can't lean up into him like that.
That's Simmons' third personal. We're under 11 minutes, 10:52 remaining. Strickland. Comegys with a rebound, and he's fouled by Curtis Jackson. Now there again, 2 officials called it. It would have been interesting. I assume they both called it on Jackson. But I think occasionally they have different players in mind.
Curtis definitely committing the foul that time. Comegys got good position in there, got the ball, went up strong, and Curtis just trying to reach in, knock the ball away, hacked him right on the wrist.
Comegys chose DePaul over 200 other schools. That's how valuable he was. This time he gets the roll. He was a bona fide, we hear all the time about a McDonald's All-American nominee. He was one of the originals. One of the original Big Macs, huh?
He's developed. He's been in double figures all 4 seasons, so he came to DePaul ready to play, and he's done nothing to change that.
DePaul by 10 with 10:45 remaining. UE needs a score. It's been a couple of minutes since they've been on the board. These droughts will drive teams and fans crazy. But you can't afford to go to sleep too long against these guys.
The Aces trying to look inside for Simmons and Godfrey.
Simmons working hard. Hafner for 3.
Good play that time. Got it inside to Simmons, working a little 2-man game, and Hafner just stepped right up. Marty turned around, and Hafner already knew what Marty was thinking. He was all set up, and that's what Coach Cruz talks about, being ready to shoot.
We're halfway home. 10 minutes, 9:56 remaining. No basket. Traveling on Kevin Edwards. Scott Hafner with 18, all coming from the 3-point range.
He's bombed in 3 this half from long range.
So UE will try again to get back within possibly 5 or 4. Here's a guy that can do it. Hafner needs help and loses it. Edwards gets the roll. Kevin Edwards His 4th bucket of the second half, unofficially 24 for Kevin Edwards, who has lived up to his reputation. Hafner gets it to Jackson. Among the Giants, rebound Grundy.
See, Curtis went up much stronger that time.
Palming the ball, it'll go back to Evansville.
Joey Meyer says, come on, officials, let's keep everything consistent. He's not pleased with the officiating in that call. You see both coaches really working on the sidelines. These guys don't sit down much or get much rest. In fact, Meyer stays in that position almost the entire game.
Joey Meyer's record's 53 and 23. He was a great player for DePaul. He was the 10th leading scorer of all time until a kid named Comegys came along. He's now been bumped to 12th. We're almost down to 9 minutes. We're under 9 minutes right now. UE within 9, but that's a lot when you're playing the 6th-ranked team in the country.
Edwards trying to hound Hafner to keep him out of three-point range.
Simmons, the whistle, and a foul on Comegys.
I believe they're going to give it to Laux.
I beg your pardon.
They called it out on Simmons. Comegys was battling underneath, and they called it out on the floor.
Laux's second personal, and Terrence Green about to come back in.
This guy is nothing but muscle. He has really developed, got a set of arms on him.
Ray Meyer told me that Green and also Kevin Golden were both recruited by Bo Schembechler. Bo wanted him for football. He said, hey, forget that round ball, will you? Come to Michigan. But they went for the round ball. UE again will try to get back within 7. Simmons gets his man up off the floor. Great tip right in, Godfrey.
Big Dan is getting the position because Simmons is driving in and drawing the defense. When you can drive against that zone, 2 men will converge, and then there's a seam. And Godfrey slips into the seam to get good rebounding positioning.
DePaul beat Indiana State 61-49 after trailing at the half by 2. Comegys.
That's where they want to get Dallas the ball.
A foul. They're calling it on Hafner under the basket. Comegys gets credit for the bucket, his 6th. It'll be a 1-and-1.
Hafner trying to get good position there, and Green is so strong. You see him shoving and Hafner shoving back. Well, you can call that one either way, and that time it was Scott Hafner that got called for it. There's been a couple of mystery calls tonight.
Yeah. There's Bill Herzog. I wondered if he was related to Whitey Herzog. He's the official that has not been on Jim Cruz's Christmas card list for 1987. As Green puts it in, Green was voted the best football player in the state of Michigan, but was also all-state in basketball.
An expensive trip for the Aces this time.
And Bamba with a rebound. 61-51, 8:05 remaining. Hafner takes it down and puts it in.
Nice floating, one-handed running jumper by Scott Hafner. Arched that ball up and put it right in.
Only 2.
Yeah.
A disappointing 2 points for Scott Hafner, who's got 6 3-point shots. Oh, almost lost. Comegys can put it up from out there. He does. Rebound. Grundy fans it out to Edwards. Rebound. Godfrey.
Big Dan ripping it down.
UE hanging tough, can get within 5 here. 7:24 remaining. Simmons. They'll try it, set it back. Simmons loses it.